Hi, I'm Joshua Painter from Cape Coral Home Group with Remax Trend, and I want to answer Tony's question about why do some homes that cost $300,000 have higher taxes than other homes that cost $300,000?
Well, it was a great question. And when you buy a home in Florida and make it your primary residence, you can file for a homestead. You must be living in the home on January 1st, and the application is due by March 1st. Once approved, you get up to $50,000 off your taxable value, and your assessed value can only increase a maximum of 3% per year, even if the market jumps 10 or 15%. And this is where buyers start asking really important questions like, why did the seller pay so little in taxes compared to what the county is estimating for me? All of these questions point back to the same thing. Everyone's taxable value is different based on their homestead status and how long they've had it. That's why two homes with the same price, like two $300,000 homes, can have completely different tax bills. Now, here's an example of two different homes. Let's say both homes are worth $300,000 today. One homeowner bought their property 10 years ago and claimed the Florida Homestead Exemption. The other homeowner bought more recently and does not have that property homesteaded. Over the past 10 years, both homes appreciated about 70%, but their taxable values did not grow the same. With homestead, taxable value can increase up to 3% per year. So even though the home jumped 70% in market value, the taxable value only rose about 30% total over that decade. But without homestead, taxable value can rise up to 10% per year. So that homeowner absorbed almost a full 70% increase in taxable value. Same price today, completely different tax bills. That's the power of the Florida Homestead Exemption. Here's another big reason why two homes with the same market value can have very different property value or property taxes in Florida. Beyond the homestead exemption and the 3% Save Our Homes cap, Florida offers a long list of additional exemptions that reduce the taxable value. For example, a disabled veteran, he may qualify for a major tax reduction or even a full exemption, where he would only pay the small non-ad valorem portion of the tax bill. A surviving spouse of a veteran or first responder can also receive significant exemptions. Seniors over 65 with limited income may qualify for an added reduction. There are exemptions for widows, widowers, blind residents, totally and permanently disabled homeowners, and deployed service members. All of these exemptions lower the taxable value and in some cases eliminate property taxes almost entirely. So even if two homes are worth the exact same amount, what you pay in taxes can be completely different depending on the exemptions that you qualify for. Here's another reason why two homes with the same $300,000 price can have completely different property taxes in Florida. It's called portability. Portability is part of Florida's Save Our Homes program, and it allows you to transfer up to $500,000 of your tax savings from a previous homesteaded property to your new home. Think of it as carrying your discounted assessed value with you when you move. Let me show you how this works. Let's say both homes are worth $300,000 today, but one homeowner previously owned a homesteaded property where their assessed value was capped for years. Because of that 3% limit, their old home built up a Save Our Homes benefit of $100,000. They also qualify for the standard $50,000 homestead exemption on their new home. So for this buyer, we reduce their new home's taxable value by $50,000 and then subtract the additional $100,000 of portability they brought with them. That means their $300,000 home is only taxed on $150,000 of value. Now compare that to another buyer who just purchased a different $300,000 home but does not have homesteaded status yet and has no portability to transfer. Their taxable value is the full $300,000. Same price, same neighborhood, same market value, but one buyer is taxed at $150,000 and the other taxed at $300,000. That's a massive difference in their yearly tax bill. That's why portability is such a powerful benefit of the Florida homestead system. It protects longtime residents from being punished by rising home values and lets you take those savings with you when you move.
So I've got a couple examples here. I found a property, 3915 Northeast 8th Place. This home is a brand new construction home, and it's sold for $300,000. Well, they're only going to pay $630 in taxes. So how can that be? $630 for taxes on this house, a brand new home. Why is that $630 and this one's $7,000? Well, that's a good question too. So taxes in Lee County, Florida are paid in arrears. That means that we pay last year's taxes today. So if I buy a home, today's March 6th, 2025, and I'm the buyer, I would pay taxes from March 6th to December 31st. And the seller would only pay January 1st to March 6th. It's a prorated portion. So I'm basically paying a prorated portion of the owner's taxes from last year because I've lived in the property from March 6th to the end of the year, and he lived there from January 1st to March 6th. So I'm paying his prorated portion of his taxes. And on this particular property, there was no home here last year. This is a brand new construction home, so you're only paying taxes on the land value of last year. So now that you own it, you're going to pay a prorated portion of that $630 from March to December. And then the next year, it's going to be reassessed at the current market value. Now, in order to project what those taxes are going to be, I'm going to walk you through going through the tax estimator on the Lee County Property Appraiser's website. So we're going to type into the keyboard www.leepa.org. www.lepa.org. So we're going to click Property Data Search. And then as soon as that loads, we're going to type in our address of 3915, that's 3915, Northeast 8th Place. All right. And as soon as that loads, we're going to click on Parcel Details. All right. That property should populate. And if you look all the way up at the top right, maybe like one or two off of the end, you'll see a tax estimator. So we're going to click on that button for the tax estimator. And we're going to type in, well, first we're going to hit OK because there's going to be a disclaimer that talks about the tax estimator. We're just going to hit OK on that real quick. And then we're going to type in $300,000 as a purchase price. We do not have any Saver Homes benefits, and we do not have a homestead. So we're not going to click either one of those. So then we're going to hit calculate, and it shows that our property taxes for next year, this year you're going to pay a prorated portion of whatever the current owner pays, and the next year it's going to be assessed at market value. So if nothing changes, it would be $4,174 a year. Now, if next year you're going to be in that house by January 1st, so next year you will be able to apply for your homestead exemption, and with that homestead exemption is $3,534. Now, you would have to be a primary resident here in Florida in order to qualify for the homestead exemption. That means you're going to have to live here for 6 months and a day because you're going to have to live in Florida more than anywhere else. So if you have two homes or this is the second home and you want that benefit, you have to make this your primary residence. So a new construction home that you see online, it could have a very low number of taxes. Chances are you're only paying property taxes for the first year on the land value. The next example I've got in the city of Cape Coral, they have a utility expansion plan. And I'll try to put a map up here in the corner so you can see where what areas are planned for city water, sewer, and irrigation moving forward from 2025 on up to 2035. So the city of Cape Coral wants to do a utility expansion plan, and that means that every single homeowner in Cape Coral eventually will be hooked up to city water and sewer. So right now, currently, if you're in the northwest or up in the northeast, you could be on a well and a septic. So if you're in let's say you're in the North 2 utility expansion area and you own a home there and you've been hit with an assessment. So you're going to have a capital expansion fee for the wastewater, stormwater, water, and sewer. You're also going to have an assessment for water, sewer, and irrigation. All right. Those assessments are going to go on your non-ad valorem portion of your tax bill. Now, if you've got $30,000 or whatever the cost ends up being for that area, pay them off up front if you have the money. And then you don't have to pay the money in your taxes. But if you don't have the money, a lot of people don't have that kind of money just float around, so they have to put it in the non-ad valorem portion of the tax bill. So it's on a 20-year bond loan, and it's probably going to be anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a year broken down into a month. So probably close to $300 a month extra on your taxes for having that assessment. So this person is going to pay $3,600 more a year in taxes than this person, because this person either has that assessment paid off or they don't have an assessment, and this person does have an assessment. So your taxes could be different based on what area you live in and the Cape Coral Utility Expansion Plan. So this example of this home is 1115 Northeast Fifth Avenue. And I want to show you a different website to look up Cape Coral expansion areas. So we're going to type in www.capecoral.net. And then when that comes up, I want you to click the I Want To tab. And then over here, it's going to say find, and you're going to say assessments and payoff, and you're going to click it. As soon as you click that, there's going to be another window pop up with the disclaimer, hit start, and then it should load in a couple seconds, and you'll have the map of Cape Coral on your computer screen. There should be a little search bar up at the top. We're going to click on that search bar, and we're going to type in 1115 Northeast 5th AVE for Avenue. All right, and that's going to, as soon as you hit enter, that's going to populate, and there's going to be a little rectangular box that pops up, and we're going to click estimated loan payoff. All right. Once we click on that, it's going to show us what the assessments are. For this property for North 1 water is 720. North 1 wastewater is 1,325. Irrigation is 600, and total non-ad valorem assessments are $4,288. This tax bill of this property that's sold December 30th of 24, this is going to be $7,393.
That's all.
So this property, for this year, they're paying $630, and for this year, this property is paying $7,393. So you can see a difference there between those two different tax bills, why they pay a little bit more money. So when you guys are searching for properties on our website and you see a tax bill, just realize that that's what you're going to pay a prorated portion of for this year, and then the next year you're going to be reassessed, and then you're going to pay that amount for taxes. So, all right, we're going to summarize the question that I was asked: why are some property taxes higher than other properties when they're being offered for sale for the same amount of money? So some of the reasons why property taxes are going to be higher for one property versus another property is, one, they could have the homestead exemption. The other property doesn't have the exemption. They could have disabled veteran status and pay no property taxes and only pay non-ad valorem taxes, and this person pays total taxes. There could be a whole number of exemptions that any person could have and qualify for, and that can reduce their income or their property taxes. This property could have assessments. This property could not have assessments. This person could have a portability amount of money from a property that they've lived in for a long period of time, where they've transferred and moved that savings from their old home into their new home. This has been our video about why one home could pay higher taxes than another home. So I'm Joshua Painter with the Cape Coral Home Group with Remax Trend, and I'm excited to help you find your piece of paradise. And I'd love to go over all the details about buying a home with you. So give me a call at 239-425-5255, and let's get a strategy session for you so you know exactly what you're going to be paying when you buy a home. An educated buyer is an informed buyer. So if that's something that you're looking for, if you want your real estate agent to be knowledgeable and can help you through the whole process from start to finish, give us a call at 239-425-5255. And please subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you guys on the next Cape Coral Home Tip video.